guys, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It's so greatly appreciated. It truly, truly is. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet and you feel so inclined to, because it really helps me out and I really, really appreciate it. So today we are going back down the Reddit rabbit hole, confronting my husband while he's on vacation with his mistress. I haven't read this yet, so I am going into it with you guys right now, completely blind for the very first time.
Beer muscles. I dread Mondays, not because of returning to the work routine, well, also because of returning to the work routine, but because it's the return of my ex. On Mondays, he returns from a long visit with his girlfriend now in her state, and he usually returns guns blazing. He'll text me paragraphs demanding things. He'll become even more hard headed and confrontational than he was when he left. Yes, he develops beer muscles, for lack of a better term. He spent a carefree weekend playing the role of supportive boyfriend and amazing stepdad, and I'm sure he's excellent at it. It's very easy to put on a temporary show. While there, I picture them laying on her couch and coming up with evil ways to destroy me, ruin me financially, or just talk about what a complete piece of shit I am. None of this is good. Her hate for me is probably all rooted in what he told her about me. Don't worry, love. The lies will start involving you soon, too. So be ready. They probably sip cheap wine and evil laugh at themselves. I picture her cackling and snorting at an elaborate scheme that they've created together. It's gross. So, Monday he returns with an agenda. To-do list created by his puppet master. I can see it now. 1. Berate her early in the morning while she's just starting work, so she can start her day off unpleasantly. 2. Demand money that you're not legally entitled to. If you annoy her enough, she might cave, right? Harassment goes a long way. 3. Tell her about all the things she's done wrong. None of this factual and a twisted truth, but she's a nice person and she will feel guilty anyway. 4. Half-heartedly apologize to her for the affair. Don't actually mean it because, hey, you can't change it and you aren't actually sorry, but it's nice to be patronizing. 5. Remind her you are doing everything in the best interest of the children. Having an affair, potentially moving out of state, fighting their mom on every decision, not giving her money for them, losing your temper at the drop of a hat. By the time he checks off his honey-do list, my head is spinning. I'm emotionally exhausted and angry. I feel helpless, alone, and strangely guilty. I honestly feel guilty I've subjected my kids to this. Why did I choose this man? Why did I do this to them? But this time it was different. This time I didn't want to play the helpless victim. This time I took charge. I called the courthouse to see what is delaying my divorce. Turns out the courts must be operated by Lloyd and Harry because they misplaced half of my paperwork. Yes, they misplaced or improperly filed legal documents pertaining to my divorce and maybe many others as well. So I called my lawyer, who is also a badass woman, and she gave that clerk hell. When I spoke to her afterwards, she was ranting and out of breath. I got an email from her today that we are on the fast track to my divorce, skipping the Zoom calls and making a final decision just from the submitted paperwork. Well, I'll be damned. Looks like my divorce is closer than I imagined. Goodbye, helplessness. Hello, freedom. D-Day. Today was a normal day. Normal refusal to get out of bed, normal straining to put my face on in the mirror, normal coffee, normal gridlock, normal coffee stain on my shirt from a stop and go gridlock, normal work banter, normal paperwork, normal homework, normal dinner, normal wrangling of children for bed, just, well, normal. As I settled in for my rather routine day, I noticed that emails have not refreshed all day. Waiting for the red bubble to appear with an ungodly high double-digit number, I cringe at the thought of emails that I've missed that need replying. I swipe through all the junk and ads offering discounts, and I see an email from my lawyer. The subject, congrats. I stop, a hard, full stop. Like a deer in headlights, it has to be it. This is everything I've been excited for. Everything I wanted, my future, scary and unpredictable, all sit in an email just waiting to be opened. I'm ecstatic and I'm petrified all at the same time. I know when I open the email and read her words that not only am I starting a new chapter, it's a whole new goddamn book. Honestly, in that moment, I'm afraid and I'm jealous of my ex. I'm so angry that he's taken the coward's way through all of this pain. Never did he experience the heartache, trauma, frustration, jealousy, and inadequacies that I felt. Like the vile toad that he is, he jumped from my lily pad to hers and he never even got wet. Meanwhile, I'm in a pond with no lily pads in sight and I feel like I'm sinking. I listen to my own thoughts and I'm disgusted with this woe is me mentality, but it can't be shook. I think I have the right to feel this way, but the badass in me refuses to show the world the fear I am suppressing. I swallow hard and open it. It is done. We are done. The process is done. I am free. I should be drinking, popping the bubbly, popping the bubbly, and celebrating. But I think what people don't say is that when you divorce, it's more like a death. Death to a life you had. Death to the stability you thought you had. Death to the comfort you had grown accustomed to. Now I ask myself, what do people do in times of death and despair? They eat. Check, did that enough already. They find comfort in friends and family. Check, my loved ones are my rocks and I rely on them so heavily. They remember the good times. Check. I have my boys as a constant reminder that even though it went south, I have two amazing people to show for it. They move on. There it is. Move on. I need to look to the future. No, not just a romantic one, but a future that is mine for the taking. Decisions that are mine to make. Memories that are mine to create. And for once, I can be selfish. I can make the calls that benefit the boys and I. I can grab life by the horns and I can tame that bitch. Put its head in my mantle as a reminder of the time that I found bravery and faced life head on. I'm ready. Facelift drama. I thought it would be easy. The weight dropped and instantly supermodel thin, but that's a lie. Anyone who says the drama ends with divorce is lying to you. It's a trap. That person can't be trusted. The problems just change. It's like drama got a facelift, but it's still ugly at its core. The house is sold. The huge check has been deposited, and here comes the troll from under the bridge. He furrows his brow and demands his money and new custody. Just when I feel like we reach the stale tolerance of each other, here come the dramatics. Here is the latest struggle, trips to her state with kids. He wants them for Christmas. I agreed, Christmas Eve with me, and Christmas Day they hop on a plane to sunny Nevada, Las Vegas. And they spend the holiday week as a family. Cute, right? I asked to be back for New Year's Eve and my birthday. That was a struggle. But New Year's Eve is my holiday this year, he protests. Okay, but Christmas Day is a shared holiday which I am giving to you. Reluctant compromise, but compromise nonetheless. Then he starts to inquire about taking our 5 and 9-year-olds on random weekend trips there. Hell to the nah. Do you even understand the exhaustion that they will feel on Monday in school after two trips at 5 hours each way in less than 72 hours? How is this what is best for them? I think it's what you want, the desire to play house, but it's not what's best for them. I suggest he look to take them on extended weekends or spring break. He then says he expects a problem with holidays when he moves. I remind him our MSA says he will come here 1 weekend a month, not the other way around. He is out of his gourd if he thinks I'm going to allow our children to fly that often during the school year. Our MSA states the custody. He comes here. They do not go there unless it is for 4 to 5 weeks in the summer. Sorry, playhouse with her kids, not with ours. He is grumpy and accuses me of doing what I please and expecting everyone to fold. I remind him I followed the custody schedule he wanted, compromised on his travel and holidays, and have even negotiated a small amount of cash for him. How am I winning? I'm being too nice. I am folding. But since he didn't get everything he wanted, I'm still the bad guy. Sigh. Hello, narcissist. It's been a while, but I see you are still around and going strong. My thought is if I stay strong and firm about him coming here, he will eventually stop coming. Is that terrible? Kind of. Is that necessary? Also, kind of. I don't know what the best thing is, to be honest with you. Perhaps I let my feelings about them playing house hurt me, but I have to remind myself that it will most likely be short lived. Something about leopards and spots, I remind myself to stay focused on the real issue, the boys. This will all come to a conclusion and eventually run its course. Stay strong and stay firm just till his eventual move. Time heals, time reveals truth. Time, I needed to hurry up. Christmas karma. For months, the ex and I have gone back and forth about the topic of travel for the holidays. In October, he suggested he takes the boys to her state for the holiday. I agreed, but wanted them home for New Year's Eve and my birthday celebration. He agreed, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, no fuss, no muss. Then a few weeks later, he complained he wouldn't have the boys for either holiday. Christmas Day is a shared day, so I reluctantly agreed to return the boys on the evening of the 24th so that they could spend Christmas Day in her state. All was well with that decision yet again. Then I guess the little birdie he cheated on me with chirped in his ear again, and he came back a few weeks later and demanded to get New Year's Eve as well. It was technically his holiday, to be fair, but I gave him Christmas Day for it, and not for nothing, Christmas Day is way better with your kids than New Year's Eve. It's my opinion. Or I should fly out to pick up the kids if I wanted them back for New Year's Eve. This is co-parenting with the ex's input is tiring. Realizing that we could never compromise, I told him we stick to our legal agreement. We share Christmas Day, he gets some New Year's Eve to be returned on the 1st. Well, he wasn't happy with this deal either. Bottom line, if he doesn't get 100% of what he wants, he isn't happy. But I know sticking to only the legal agreement will benefit me and the boys in the long run. I say this because earlier this month he said when he moves across the country it will be too expensive and difficult for him to come back here monthly to visit as our MSA states. He wants the boys to go there monthly instead. Oh, no, 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 no. We are not shuttling 2 boys across the country monthly because you no longer like the legal agreement that we made. I emailed my lawyer and gave her a heads up that this was his thought process in case the situation gets sticky in the months to come. Her and I are very prepared. So, by sticking to the MSA now, I can give zero wiggle room in the months to come. On Wednesday, I got a call from the school nurse telling me my 5-year-old was a close contact with the positive student in his class. I called my mother immediately to have him picked up, scheduled a test for both boys, and then called my ex. His first response, well, that fucks up my trip. Yes, our son's fine, thanks for asking. Now, both boys are in close contact and can't travel. So, what does he do? He boards an earlier flight and disappears. Wow, I shouldn't be surprised. Guess spending Christmas with her kids was more of a priority. I know some of you will say, what about his health? He's risking exposure too. Well, my son was exposed on Monday the 20th. My ex had both boys the 20th to the 22nd. He wouldn't be risking exposure. He was already exposed in this case. But after months of back and forth and him changing our agreement, the boys don't even end up going. He says he's devastated that the boys couldn't go but had zero issue bailing early and not seeing them at all for Christmas. Both of the boys are fine and are actually getting tested again tomorrow for their return to school next week. Now that I know they are not sick, I can only assume this whole thing was karma. My ex called at 7:30 p.m. Christmas evening to have a 90-second chat with our kids. Has yet to ask me how everybody feels. Didn't even ask about the test results. I wonder if his girlfriend knew this was why the boys didn't travel. Perhaps he lied and said I was not allowing them to. I only say this because she has a small child who is not of vaccination age yet. I really hope for that child's sake my ex isn't an asymptomatic carrier. I will be requiring him to get tested as well before he picks up the boys on the 4th. I'm sure he will say that he's fine or that he got tested already. To which I will ask to see the results. I've learned the hard way that his word means less than nothing. Sayonara, sucker. Well, I have always been good at thinking a few steps ahead and seeing the writing on the wall. There was one thing I was always sure of. He was moving. For months, he danced around it. Why? Excellent question. I wish I could answer it. There are a lot of questions I wish I had answers for. But one thing was always obvious. He was leaving to live a life with her and her children. Now let's analyze this logically. Why would you have an affair with a woman across the country, visit every other weekend as well as long holidays, if you never had any intention of living there and making it work? Just that piece of evidence is all you need. But wait, there's more. My boys told me before Christmas that Daddy got a job at a big, well-known company. I told them that wasn't correct, thinking he told them he worked there just so that they would understand that he worked for a company in some capacity. Putting a face to a name, if you will. So, when I finally asked him, purely in conversation, he told me the boys were right. And I hope you're sitting down for this one. His office is located in her state. So, why would you take a job in her state if you weren't sure that you were going to move there? I also sent him a custody schedule earlier this month that runs through May 1st, and he has never even looked at it. Normally, he's quickly responding and telling me weekends he has booked to travel with her. Something's not right. Lastly, his lease is up March 1st. No way he was going to re-up for a year. Sometimes I feel like I need to check myself in the mirror. He must see idiot written across my forehead somewhere, and I have yet to find it. So he texted me yesterday to tell me the news. This isn't news. This is information you have known and you've withheld. I don't, and will probably never, understand why he just can't be transparent. I'm not asking for personal details. I need information to schedule the rest of my life. Literally, the rest of my life. Because, as I and many of you have speculated, I doubt he will be in their lives for much longer. Isn't that sad? Yeah, it's superficially sad. The boys will not have a father around. But he wasn't really the father they needed. Lately he's been better, but it really was a last-ditch effort to save the fragile and awkward relationship that they have. I think about how 10 years from now, when they are old and understand, I have no idea how they're going to react towards him. Knowing that he had an affair, fought me constantly, and then disappeared for months after our divorce was legalized, might really alter the relationship the three of them have as adults. How he maintains that relationship over the next few years is going to be crucial. I hope for everyone's sake there's some effort, but as a magic 8 ball would say, outlook not so good. The upside is my child support is more than doubling. This will be helpful as I have been house hunting and that extra money would help me get a better house for the boys and I. I'm excited for this. The boys are excited for this, and I think the three of us are eager to start over. A new, fresh start. They have already asked to come see houses with me to pick out their bedrooms, and they're excited for the possibility of getting a pool. I hope I could check all their boxes because they deserve everything. Probable prediction. It's almost here. I have every type of emotion swirling through me. Will I miss him? Hell no. But I think what controls me the most is the probability that he will be selfish right until the end. Let me give you some context. He is moving. Bye bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Sayonara. So long, sucker. Another one bites the dust. Now, any normal, well adjusted person would prepare, right? Well, not him. Oh, not him. Instead, he has spent his child free weekends in her state. I learned through mutual friends that he was celebrating the birthdays of her friends, paintballing, and of course treating her to fancy dinner on Valentine's Day. Again, normally this would be none of my business and I would have no reason to care, except he has already hinted that he will not be taking the kids the last weekend of the month as scheduled, apparently opting to enjoy his weekend and then give me the children on his scheduled weekend to finally handle his priorities. But who cares about my time, right? But I ask more importantly, what about the kids? Is this see you later only to disappear like a thief in the night? No explanation, just a normal goodbye that translates to goodbye forever. Here's my prediction. He is currently across the country. He will return on Monday the 21st to have the kids for 2 nights and then disappear. Poof! Houdini himself couldn't pull off a better trick. The greatest disappearing act of all time. Now let me tell you what brought me to this conclusion. It wasn't a crystal ball, but simply an inability to provide detail. He has sold everything that mattered to him or was worth anything. Years of expensive memorabilia piled into a U-Haul and sold. He is also having his cars shipped across the country. Good idea, but when I asked when is it being shipped, he told me the guy hasn't given me a date. So you hired a company and told them that you're out of here on March 1st and they have not given you a ship date? My guess? He has a date that he isn't willing to share because he knows it will prevent him from being here for his parenting time. I've seen this movie so many times. At this point, I can recite the dialogue. When I talked to him about this, he told me, I'm doing the best that I can and I don't have any help. So I offered to help. I told him I offered to help pack up things on both weekends, but he chose to be in her state instead. His reply, stop trying to control the situation. Wait, I offered to help because you had no help and you classified that as me being controlling? That bothered me. Not because he's a doodiddle. I know that part can't be helped, but because he knows me. He knows that wasn't a controlling comment, so why say it? I realize he said this because he has to. Me being a good person brings him guilt. He knows this move is selfish. He knows he has been difficult. He knows the affair was wrong. But it's easier to make me the villain than to face his own faults. Perhaps he has told so many lies about what an evil person I am to his girlfriend that he now believes them. Whatever the reason, the chameleon has changed his color. He is now her shade and will blend and mimic whatever she feels. This is something narcissists do. He's charming and agreeable to her. If she has an opinion about me, it's now his opinion as well. She is his new supply and he will drink it up. He will mold himself to everything she is until he gets bored. Until the allure fades, daily life and routine set in, and she's no longer feeding his ego. And then what? Then he does what he did to me. He pulls away, he resents, he's secretive, he cheats, and then he vilifies. Again, the chameleon will change their color. It's just the chameleon's nature. Goodbye and hello. The day came and the day went. Last Saturday, he left. Yes, my prediction was right. He said he wasn't changing a cross country trip. to keep the kids his last weekend, even though just a few days before he said things are up in the air about the move. I wish I knew something about gambling because I could have bet it all and won. He dropped off some things to the house on Thursday evening and said bye to the kids. It wasn't emotional or long winded, just a hug and a goodbye. The next day, I went to his place to get the larger objects that didn't fit in his car. We packed up my car in silence, and then once the trunk closed, the awkward moment began. Do I just leave, throw him deuces, and jump in my car? What is the protocol for saying goodbye to the man you were married to for 10 years, knew for 15, had children with, who cheated on you, etc.? So I just said, well, I guess that's goodbye. Good luck to you out there. He looked at his feet and started shifting his weight. No, this can't be what I think it is. Is he sad? He then says, come on, you're going to make me cry. I'm going to make you cry? The statement made me furious. So I said, why the hell would you cry? Every decision you've made for the past 8 months was all for this moment. You wanted it, you got it. He wanted validation. He wanted reassurance. Bottom line is, he's comfortable with me and he knows I'm a logical person. He wanted me to tell him that this was the right thing to do, that it was okay that he's leaving me and the kids. Hell, maybe it's okay that he cheated. I guess my comment made him realize the days of moral support are long gone, and he stiffened up. I turned to get into my car, and as I left, I said, so much for the past 15 years. Goodbye, he scoffed. Good. He's angry with me again. I prefer that. I spoke to him for the first time yesterday since he left. The boys' spring break is in a month, and the plan was that they would be going to him for the week. I sent him a message asking about dates, and he didn't seem eager. He said he had to look at the calendar and work on things on his end. He didn't jump at the comment I made about keeping them for Easter and my oldest's birthday either. Something's up. Turns out, her children will be in school that week and they both have to work. Who will watch or entertain the kids for a week? He's not going to make it work. I don't think he can, even if he wanted to. To all my betting people, what are the chances the boys will go visit him for a week in April? Now, on to new business. I met someone. Well, I didn't just meet someone. I've been dating someone since December, and dare I say it, he's really amazing. I've hesitated to say anything as honestly I'm scared. I'm afraid the same thing will happen to me again. I'm afraid to introduce the boys to someone and then it dissolves. I'm afraid of truly opening to somebody again. But I will say so far he is completely different than my ex. I'm cautious, but enjoying his company, affection, and attention. He knows my story. He's been in my room while I've had phone calls with my ex, and he has heard the gaslighting firsthand. I think he's being very patient with me because of it. I warned him early that this would take me time, and he understood. I'm not the same woman I was 2 years ago. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the truth. So for now, I'm cautiously optimistic and just taking it day by wonderful day with him. Radio silence. 10 days. That's when the boys' spring break starts. It's only 10 days away and still no word from the ex about airfare and travel arrangements. Back in the beginning of March, when I asked him about this, we tried to figure out logistics. I say we, but it was actually me. I volunteered to pay my way to fly out there because I was going to have a mini vacation for myself after drop off, and he would pay for the boys' airfare. He assured me that he had travel credits from their missed Christmas trip and all would be covered. Then radio silence, not a peep. I asked about dates and he said he needed to check his work calendar. Then it was, I have to check our calendar. Lastly, it was, the airline is giving me problems with my credit card. So I waited and I waited. I waited for 3 weeks. Tonight, I had to make the call. I wish I never would have picked up that phone and dialed his number. He informs me that his credit is for only one set of tickets. So, he says, how do you want to work this? You want to pay their way here and I'll pay for the flight back? No, no, and no, I don't want to do that. Hard pass. This is not my responsibility to pay. You agreed via our MSA to come here once a month. You decided it was too big of an expense and now want them to come to you. You moved across the country for a woman and left your children. Now you pay for the airfare to come here. He told me we have 50-50 custody, so travel expenses should be the same. He told me he spoke to people. People are obviously his girlfriend. And they think our arrangement is absurd and unfair. Okay, there, Chief, whatever you say. Please show me the law degree of said people. He said our whole MSA needs to be changed. Want to change it? No problem. Get a lawyer. He won't because financially, he can't. He couldn't afford to pay $2,000 in airline tickets, but he can afford a lawyer? We went in circles arguing about the same points, and I realized none of us were being heard. So I told him to get a lawyer and hung up. I opened my wallet yet again and called my lawyer. That's one bill I will never be angry about paying. She told me he can make demands until he's blue in the face, but until he hires a lawyer and files for the chains, it's all just hot air. Then, even after he files, she is confident that a judge will see his reneging on our legal agreement as a negative. Then the judge will ask why he moved, and when they say it was purely for his benefit and not for the best interest of the children, he will not alter the agreement. Best part is, if he files, he'll have to travel back to my state to attend court, but doesn't want to travel here to visit his children? Odd. Moral of the story, he never cared about the kids. It was all about besting me. Besting me out of my money, my time, my sanity. The list goes on and on. The hard truth is, he has moved on. I was perfectly fine with him moving on and leaving me behind. I welcome that. But the kids, that hurts. They are slowly asking less about him, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Bad for him, I'm sure, but for the kids, it might just be the best. Game time. I'd like to introduce you to a new game that I play. Some who are survivors of infidelity and narcissists might be familiar with this game. I call it healthy or trauma. Being in a new relationship after you have left a cheater is hard, mentally and emotionally. I find myself loving every minute with him, enjoy the comfort we give each other, but I also find myself analyzing things more than I ever have. I've not been in a healthy relationship, so I often find myself wondering what is normal and what is not. Is this action, behavior, or response a healthy one, or am I doomed to make the same mistake again? For the first few months, I played this game in silence. He ignored what I said to him when he was watching the game. Normal? I had to ask him to help me with something. Normal? He answered a text and put his phone in his pocket. Trauma? He plays a video game and disappears for a bit. Trauma? He has been unbelievably patient with me and navigating me through this new relationship, and it has made me so comfortable. The trust is building, but it's not sturdy. It's not the Empire State Building. It's more like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was becoming exhausting playing this back and forth game in my head. I knew I didn't want to make the mistakes I've made in the past. Am I being too cautious and overanalyzing? Yes, probably. But who wouldn't in my place? Was I getting my own, was I getting in my own way by doing this? What should I do to ensure this relationship is healthy and grows? I decided to start at the beginning. I wanted to correct the first wrong step I took with my ex, not communicating properly. So, I told him about my game. I told him that I overanalyzed. He knew this about me already, but the game was a bit new for him. And I questioned if things are part of a healthy relationship or am I leaning towards trauma again? He understood. He laughed. He comforted. He hugged. So, while I have not been able to stop playing my game, I am now no longer the only player. He understands my thought process and communicates with me. He sees the wheels turning in my head and puts them to a grinding halt. I apologize to him for how my mind works, and he won't hear of it. We are rebuilding, he says. Yes, yes, we are. If you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you so, so, so very much. We're gonna have to definitely do one more part. So until next time, stay safe out there.